Non. Pas du tout, mais ça n'a pas de rapport. Mais... Je viens à un moment difficile, j'ai perdu quelqu'un de très proche aujourd'hui. Donc non, je vois pas le positif tout de suite.
T'as su ça avant le match ou... Je suis désolé.
Tim Reynolds.
Sorry, just I lost somebody today. I'll take one more question. Let's do it.
Vic, what can you guys learn from this experience? A game that counts but doesn't, being on this stage, where will this team grow from this?
I guess it's the best practice for important games because of course, our focus is already on the playoffs, and it's the biggest time. Playoffs are going to be the biggest time of the year, so I guess it's good that we got this experience today. Thank you.
Victor.
As the Knicks go on to get the victory, OG Anunoby leading the way, leading all scorers with 28 points in this one. Brunson just following up just shy of him with 24, 4, and 8. Karl-Anthony Towns did exit the game briefly while dealing with an injury, but did return on the other side of this matchup. Dylan Harper with a 21-point performance. Victor Wembanyama, despite in limited time, finishing with 18 points. Had a couple of big moments there in the third quarter, but not enough as the Spurs fall short in the Cup championship. Your Knicks, hey, they got a title of sorts. Well, it might not be the NBA Finals, but I mean, this one at least felt like a playoff game as we're joined by CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez. And John, it just seemed like the Spurs, they were ready to collect that big check and start heading back to San Antonio. But that fourth quarter turnaround that we saw from the Knicks, San Antonio, they had success earlier with their ball pressure. Did the Knicks just adjust better than the Spurs did tonight? What was the ultimate deciding factor for you in this one?
Yeah, end of the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, they really turned it up. Jalen Brunson was excellent again. He had 25 points. He had 4 straight 30-point performances in the Cup, Kiana, so he didn't quite get past that level, but it was still really good tonight. You mentioned OG Anunoby. He was fantastic. I thought he was the best player of the game. I suspect that Jalen Brunson was the best player of the Cup, but the Knicks really dialed it up, and I think if there was one thing that they really excelled at in this game, and especially late, was the offensive rebounds. I mean, they dominated on the offensive rebounds. They dominated in rebounds in general and really put that to good use for second chance points. They had all 5 starters in double figures. And then they closed late with Tyler Kolek because Bridges was dealing with a little injury issue. You mentioned Karl-Anthony Towns, Jordan Clarkson, and Tyler Kolek. Even though the Spurs bench outscored the Knicks bench in total, and part of that is because they're bringing Wemby off the bench and Harper had 21 points. But Jordan Clarkson and Tyler Kolek off the bench for the Knicks had a combined 29 points. That was a huge boon. So everybody really contributing late in that game for the Knicks, who, as you mentioned, championship. They get a cup.
They do. They get their first championship type banner since 1973. But you talk about the Knicks. They had 32 second chance points. They had dominated in the points in the paint with 56. I do want to talk about the other side of the matchup in just a bit, but you and I, we sat here, we talked pregame, we knew coming into this one that the Knicks, they are real contenders. But what did you learn about them tonight? Does winning this tournament maybe validate where New York is as a contender, or is it just maybe another notch on their progress belt?
Yeah, they got off to a little bit of a slow start, and I think some people were sleeping on them. They came in as preseason favorites along with the Cavs. The Cavs can't shoot, but the Knicks now are looking like the Knicks team that we all expected them to be, and as a primary contender in the Eastern Conference. They're still lagging behind the Detroit Pistons by 2.5 games in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, this game doesn't count towards the standings, but the Knicks have really put the Eastern Conference on notice that, hey, we're playing our best basketball right now, and all the little kinks that we had to work out look like they're ironed out. They have the second best offense in the NBA. They came into this game, again, the stats don't count, but they came into this game just outside the top 10 in defensive rating as well. And with Jalen Brunson playing well, you hope that Karl Anthony Towns, who had a little bit of a calf injury an issue in the fourth quarter, did go back into the game, but you hope he's okay. You hope Bridges is okay, because that starting unit is really clicking right now. And outside of the Pistons, you look at the Eastern Conference and you go, man, who scares you more than the Knicks? And the answer is nobody. They are putting the rest of the Eastern Conference on notice that, hey, this could very well be their year that they go to the finals, finally.
Yeah, but finally, John, I hope that this doesn't hurt for you to be saying all of this, but let's go to the other side of the matchup, shall we? I mean, we got to talk about Victor Wembanyama, obviously, finishing his night, 18 points and 9 assists. He did play 25 minutes. We talked about we weren't quite sure how he would be used, how long he would be used in this game, but even though he was limited and coming off the bench, how much do you think that affected maybe San Antonio's late game competitiveness?
Yeah, I mean, they'd love to have a full-strength Wemby out there, right? Because that would probably tip the scales a little bit more in their favor. I'm not saying that the Spurs would have won this game, but he's still working back from his calf injury, and you don't want to push that, right? He only played 25 minutes. He was off the bench again. He didn't start the game. He had 18 points and a couple of blocks. I thought he looked fine. It wasn't as impactful as the game that he had against Oklahoma City in the semifinals. But ultimately, if you're the Spurs, you feel good about making the Cup Finals. You feel good about where this team is. They were 9-3 without Wemby. They had won 3 in a row coming into this game. The Knicks are a worthy winner of the Cup, and if you're the Spurs, yes, it hurts that you don't win. It hurts that you don't get that 500K plus bonus for winning this game, which would go a long way for those veteran minimum contracts, the two-way guys. But you have to feel really good about where you are in this Western Conference with Wemby back. Now all of a sudden, you're thinking, well, hey, yeah, Oklahoma City's the best team in the Western Conference, but you have to put the Spurs right there with the primary contenders to Oklahoma City, along with the Rockets and then the Nuggets. I would have the Spurs right in that second-tier group challenging Oklahoma City, and you never know what happens in the playoffs. Don't forget, in Oklahoma City last year, they got pushed to 7 games by the Denver Nuggets and then 7 games in the finals by the Indiana Pacers. So anything could happen.
I certainly don't think that this loss in the Cup Finals diminishes anything that we have learned about the Spurs. Instead, I think that we have essentially maybe we're afraid of the Spurs and what they can be, especially when they're healthy. And I know we talked a lot about that pregame, but I do want to just circle back to the Knicks, because Jalen Brunson, after his performance in the Cup Final, the Cup Final MVP, 25 points in 41 minutes. What did you see out of him? How impressed were you, especially when I look at that fourth quarter? Because it looked like he was the one that essentially took over and kind of helped the Knicks to this win.
He's been awesome in the Cup. As I mentioned, he had 4 straight games in Cup games with 30 points or more. Tonight, 25 points, but he also had 4 rebounds and 8 assists. He's a deserving winner of the Cup MVP. He's a killer, right? I mean, he's one of the best closers in the game 2 years ago. He finished top 5 in the MVP voting. He's made first team All-NBA. This is a guy who, when you look around at the best players in the NBA, and certainly the best scorers in the NBA, he's right at the top of the list. Josh Hart likes to give him flack for being not that athletic, not that quick, doesn't have that much hops. Doesn't matter, because this guy can get anywhere he wants to on the floor, and he's